Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on what time you're watching this. So this morning we had the digital brew, so thank you for everybody who joined us. And I was with Tristan Griffiths, who was sharing his story. Now, due to some of the technical issues I've been having with the computer or the internet being stuck in the man cave and not the studio, it's been a nightmare. So we don't have the first part of what we discussed, but I still felt in the basis of being prolific and not perfect, some of the stuff we discussed was really valid, and hopefully afterwards everybody said that they found it really useful. So we're going to continue from where the audio picked up and where the computer kicked back in. Over the next couple of days, I will make sure I get this all sorted. But thank you, Tristan, for joining us, and I really look forward to sharing a show with you very soon. And this is where we picked up from.
A digital agency called It's Nomad 9. Retrospectively, really bad choice of brand name, because you have to explain to people it's Nomad 9, not just Nomad 9. It's got a number 9. Retrospectively, would have probably chosen a different name, but it makes for a good story when you're talking about your brand and branding. Like, ultimately, we operate similar to Gary Vee. I'm the face and voice of the business. There's a team that sits behind it that operates like VaynerMedia deliver the products for Gary Vaynerchuk. He's the face on the front of the brand. He's the voice. He's the energy. He's the reason people connect with VaynerMedia. So we do it that way. So I'm the personal brand, and I'm out there. I talk from stage. I've done like international speaking, marketing, business summit out in Milan. Just spoken in Australia, spoken all over the place, and I do a lot of podcasts and interviews.
Was Gary Vee an inspiration for you then? Has he been someone? I mean, have you met Gary?
Yeah, we've done work with Gary actually. So
have you?
I've actually got photos. So on the photography thing, doing things the right way will always pay off. So for us, we've got photos in Gary Vee's press pack, and just last week I had a friend send me a message. Oh my goodness! And this is the hard G, soft G conversation, GIF conversation, whatever you want to call it. Someone messaged me and said, one of your photos has been turned into one of them. So here, like, they linked me and they're like, your photo from 2016 that's in his press pack is now being actively used as an animation across a number of different platforms. So now, again, as seen on TV, as featured by, have worked with. So like being able to say, have photographed and filmed Ed Sheeran, massive music artist, instantly gives kudos. Trusted Google photographer, which we are, gives kudos. It's borrowed credibility from the brands. So with Gary Vee, we photographed him at, well, the brand doesn't exist anymore, it's changed, it's now Keep. It was the Infusionsoft conference, so Icon 2016. We were actually out filming for someone else. But what's the opportunity? I talk about this all the time. Every morning I'm shouting about opportunities and stay positive. The opportunity was we'd stopped filming at the moment Gary Vee's on stage. Everyone's like, we're not filming anymore. We're paying attention. And so I'm not filming, right? So I'm literally straight down to the front because I'm there as a media person. I'm sat at the front. I'm taking the photos. The reason they're in Gary Vee's press pack is I wasn't even in the building by the end of his talk. We had gone because we had to get on a flight and leave because we're going back to Australia. And we'd left, but we still had a team there. I literally had edited the photos and had them ready on a USB stick. I had to go borrow a USB stick to do this, and we got them knowing how to do it. Again, the right process, the right way to approach it. Gary Vee is not going to be accessible when he comes off stage. However, D-Rock is there and filming for him. He is way more accessible than Gary is. Go to him, get it in his hands. He can get it in Gary's hands on the plane on the way home.
Can I just ask, does everybody know who Gary Vee is? Huh? Do you put a hand up if you know who he is? Okay, so it's interesting, Tristan, because I mean I still am having a technical nightmare, but the similar to you. So for me, we've worked with some of the biggest brands, and we still work with some of the biggest brands in the world, and we've spent 20 years learning from them what makes a brand, how they operate, how they learn, how they educate, how they get big. And for you, with some of the speakers and the people that you've worked for, you've listened and observed and learned what works and what doesn't work for them that you can then apply for your self brand.
Yeah.
Which is what we were doing with Success Leaves Clues and what Start doing now, because lots of people want to work with these big brands or get access to these people.
Yeah.
But when they come off stage, they don't want to give anyone any time really, unless you either pay for it or
it's been bought in by the promoter, right?
Closed group,
maybe
yeah.
just signing
And so,
some photos, yeah.
Exactly. And so when we did Tom Jones' music video for him and stuff like that, all these people aren't accessible unless you're doing stuff for them, and all of a sudden people become accessible. So now with what you're doing, what does the future hold?
So obviously we now teach, train and educate on all the things we've already implemented in our own business. So
Yep.
How does this help and benefit everyone else? What we've done, obviously a couple of the examples I've given you are for nightlife and clubs. That's not on the surface look relevant for a photography business or whatever business you're running, but the principles, the core principles that sit inside it work cross industry. We focus on organic content creation. That is what we do as an agency. So we're helping people raise visibility, get in front of customers at the right time, and talk to them in the right way that they want to do business. So you're literally positioning yourself for the opportunity to happen, right? And that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what industry you are. So when we help people create content, what are the problems that you solve? How do you speak to the right audience at the right time? And how do you get visible? Those things don't change. What the knowledge is that you're sharing, that's your knowledge. I don't have that. We help you to extract that and get it out as content. That's what we do. The way we do that, the process we use is the same. It works because you've got knowledge in your head. Okay, brilliant. Let's research what people want to know from that knowledge. Let's create specific content that speaks to the problems that people are searching for answers to. Let's create videos, let's create blogs, let's create social media updates that drive answers to that question and drive people back to your brand. Again, coming back to selling, not selling, you're always selling in the fact that if you're providing value to people, you're driving people to want to do business with you. You're not hard selling people going, buy my product, like Ricky said earlier. But when I put out content earlier today saying, here's a way that you can create content, this is what you can do, this is a process, there is nothing you can buy from me saying that. I'm not selling your product or service. It doesn't lead to that. However, there'll be loads of people who watch that and go, that sounds amazing. I need to do that. Can't be bothered to do it. Don't want to do it. Have no inclination. I'm not creative. And so then they will reach out because you've got the knowledge and you've shared it. That's why they'll want to do business with you. The human connection of I care, I'm showing up, I'm helping you is why people will do business.
Do you find, because one thing I've noticed on some of your content, and I, and Gary V as well, really, with what he does, there's some things that he does which resonates quite well with a younger audience and the next stage of influencers and decision makers. Because for a company like mine, we've worked a lot with premium brands, so the videos had to be perfect, or the images have to be perfect, so it all positions in a premium brand space, and that's sort of what we used to always believe needed to be true. But with the introduction of TikTok and all these other social media streams, the content now actually doesn't have to be premium content. For me, this is part of the barrier, you see, because one part of my head will be going, premium brand, we deal with premium brands, we deal with premium product, everything's got to be perfect. But this is where the prolific, not perfect cycle comes in, because you get it out, it might not, then you improve, then you reprove, and then people see the evolution as you grow the team or as you grow what you have, because because for me, that is one of the biggest things I've had to sort of unlearn and come to grips with, because TikTok and YouTube, when you create YouTube videos now, your thumbnails for YouTube have to be interesting. They have to be engaging. I put the Queen's hat and a thing of orange juice over Dave yesterday, and that's because that will get a click. And it's really bizarre because Gary V is very in that. Yeah. Is that what you're seeing a lot more?
So I think there's a couple of different things here. You're talking about prolific versus perfect. Perfection will lead to procrastination, will stop you doing it. If you don't do it, you can't be found, right? Ultimately, the minute you're waiting for it to be perfect, then you're going to do it slower. You're going to get less content out. I literally shared this morning on my live. It's funny because it's nicely tied in. Is that quite often people are waiting to get that absolutely perfect, right? And that perfection is going to slow them right down. They're not going to get the content out. Therefore, they're not going to do the business. And they're also going to start to lose faith in creating content in itself, right? The content being out there where people, we've had people say, oh, there's a mistake in that blog you wrote the other day. And like, okay, brilliant. How many blogs have you written in the last week? Oh, none. Okay, cool. So there's lots of mistakes in yours. In the fact, it's not there. That's a bigger mistake than having a typo in my blog, right? But in order for you to have seen my typo, what does it guarantee me? You read my blog. Therefore, you still consume the content. And like we've literally seen people put content out, and the human brain is so powerful that it actually solves the problem of a typo anyway. You can literally write words that are the first letter and last letter correct, right number of letters, and people will read the right word. Like, if you don't believe me, try it in a status update and see how many people comment and say the word in the middle is wrong.
Well, this is another thing that's quite interesting, though, isn't it? And this is so for me as a business, when we're working with the brands that we do, if there was a typo in there, we're literally shot. So we have to resolve. But I've also been a strong believer in that it's not the problem, it's how you fix a problem which defines you as a business. Because
absolutely. So it's how you respond.
Yeah, if you can respond and get that resolved quickly, like you have to have systems and processes to proof check and quality control. Of course, you have to have quality control. And that is still very important. But also, how people consume content, depending on what channel it is, it doesn't have to be perfect, because what's the end result? If you're going to get 2 likes or 3 likes and you're going to spend a whole day doing it, you've wasted a whole day on something. But if you can repurpose the content or rework the content, then it will be better. Not saying here, just produce anything and get it out. But at the same time, that's sort of what's happening at the moment to get any noise, because you're competing with loads of people in a bedroom. And only when they get under your, like in the layers and dig down deeper, they'll go, oh, will you actually work with these companies?
Right now, like, we're in a really interesting time, because even the likes of your Ellen show is being broadcast from home without the team, without the big technology. Yes, they've shipped in big cameras and stuff to her house, and she's got that, but she hasn't got the team there, which is ultimately fundamental in doing a broadcast, is the team in the studio, right? It's the help, the support that you've got. And sometimes, I mean, this is part of the software we've been talking about, Ricky, is that people can be there behind the scenes running it, even remotely, and that becomes powerful. You just show up and present as a thing. So talking about the perfection side and is it perfect and the brand, the people who are going to win right now are the people who are getting the content out. Everybody who's used to perfect and edited and all of that, because the production studios have shut, because all of the people who are doing that work are now not currently working or learning how to work in the new way, the people who have been doing it through the social space are still working. They're still getting loads of content out, where that means they're literally forging ahead of everybody else. They're not like the old adage of, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got, isn't true. If you always do what you've always done, you're going to get left behind, because everyone else is learning a new way to do it and doing it better. And like, yes, it's not perfect, but let's bring that right back. There's a place for well curated, like stylized professional video and that production, right? But there's a place for it, and it's not everywhere. It doesn't make sense to do that with everything, because the nature of reality TV, the nature of human nature of being nosy, people want to see behind the scenes. They want to see the raw, authentic bit, and they want that human connection.
Behind the scenes has a bigger reach. We worked on a commercial last year, which was £250,000 commercial. The whole commercial probably cost about £500,000. And the best bit about the commercial was all of the behind the scenes and all the extra bits that was cut up for social media, because people are used to super perfect, super beautiful, super pretty hyper realism. In fact, they tune out from it because they're used to seeing it everywhere. And now what's happening, particularly the younger generation, they're used to seeing something that isn't perfect.
Yeah.
And
well, the production studios, actually, and film studios, because we like, one of my best friends is an award-winning cinematographer who's worked on like Bond and all that sort of stuff. They're actually not allowed to take photos in the studio because they're worried about the control of the media and the stuff going out. My marketing brain says that's handled badly. What they should do is they should encourage behind the scenes footage to be created, but maintain a better control of how and when it's released. Imagine just before a movie comes out, boom, 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 loads of social content from everybody that's hype about a movie. That's free. You haven't got to pay for that. They're doing it because it grows their brand as well, and their association with that.
Rock and Jumanji is a good example of this, because they were showing behind the scenes, they were showing the banter and the laughter. Now, why? I mean, Success Leaves Clues is all in the name, right? So this is why I interview people who have been successful, to understand what they're doing. And if you now, like all social media channels are looking at very documentary-esque style content, because they've realized that loads of people are just buy, sell, buy, trying to run pyramid schemes, whatever it is. But actually, if everybody, or if you did a documentary of your business, or a behind the scenes of your business, or a day in the life of at the nursery, a day in the life of photography, a day in the life of doing surveying of cabling, whatever it might be in the business, if you did those types of videos and put them out, people will go, oh wow, you've got a team, or oh wow, you've got these offices, or oh my god, that's so cool, and oh, I love your setup. And that helps with like the culture. And our studio, when people come to the studio, they go, oh my god, this is just so cool, you've got all this stuff. And that now really valuable content, more than a polished animation or a polished video right now.
That behind the scenes, you're going to laugh about this. I'm currently sat in the garden, right? I've actually got a camera that is up there, and I've also got a time lapse running behind it. So I'm literally creating 2 other pieces of content whilst we're in here. So I've got my audio from this is running in a camera up here. I'm actually wearing a mic, so I've got the behind the scenes stuff. So therefore, if people wanted to find out about the full conversation, I could release 1 minute of this online, which would bring people to find out about Digital Brew. I literally if you saw when I looked up at the camera here just before we started talking, I was doing my intro to the video whilst I was on mute in here. So the behind the scenes stuff is going to elevate everything. We talk about repurposing the original content, but you can create other stuff. Like, we're lucky in the fact we have quite a lot of kit to do it. But realistically, most people could, if they needed to in a situation, get hold of a second phone or use their old, if they've upgraded the phone you had before, stick it up and do a time lapse, right? That behind the scenes, giving the access, is what people are going to be interested in. It's going to help to propel the actual content that you're creating, right? So people overthink it.
Sorry, isn't that now more powerful than ever as well, for the fact that you'll see TV production has all stopped on Netflix and most things because of lockdown. So because people are filming from home, warts and all, not some of them have still got makeup and things, but actually
it's the biggest opportunity.
Yeah, because actually now, if people even did a video diary, in fact, I should probably do a video diary for the remaining of lockdown, is that all of these things are of the same production level now as what's on TV. Through the Zoom, things like that.
That documentary bit that you're talking about, if you documented every day, and there's actually a guy who's an artist, he's called Vic Lee, and he's been doing, so he goes out and does massive drawings and murals in train stations and that sort of stuff. Because he can't go out and do that, he's documenting what the current coronavirus news is in a book, and loads of people online want to buy it as a documentation of what's happened, right? If you did a video diary and no one else had done it, and a channel wanted to create a documentary about coronavirus, what content are they going to buy? They're going to buy yours. That right now, the big opportunity is everyone is on a level playing field for creating content. Yes, there's people who've got access to bigger, better cameras, but they lost their team to support them. So there's a leveling out. Right now, like someone I know who linked me to a show casting call. So not the actual, as in they want people to put in pilots for new shows for TV, right? The deadline on the document they sent me was February 2020, which has been and gone. But if you think about, every production studio is currently shut. If you can create a show right now, you can sell it to a big broadcast TV channel because they have no other choice. Well,
this is the plan of Digital Brew. Eventually, I want a TV channel or a set on Netflix, which is what I will end up getting.
But the other thing is, why do you want to go there?
Why?
So this is the second conversation. Is the opportunity is there to go big channel and go Netflix and things like that, but actually you will lose. Yes, financially it's great and it's good, and like they've got the audience. But on your own channel, if you can grow your own channel on YouTube or Facebook or whatever, like that guy I was talking about earlier, he's got 250,000 followers and he's currently earning 2,000, like without doing anything, knowing what he's doing, he's earning £2,000 a month of residual income from just going live for 1 hour a day on Facebook, right? 1 hour. That's it. And he's just chatting. There's no production. He's literally grabs his phone. He's like this and he's playing a bit of music and he's just chatting to his audience, right? 250,000 people, and that's before he's done any marketing, before he's got a plan.
He's got an audience already. You know, there's a lot of people who have personal brands who don't use them. And I know quite a few celebrities and people who actually do not capitalize or use their personal brand at all.
Reach out to them. Those are the people. They don't like, I tell you why they don't leverage it. They don't understand the opportunity and they don't know how to do it. Right now, the reason we're working with that person, I've done various bits of work. So I've got a 10-year relationship. He joked about, oh, your phone number's still the same from 10 years ago when I rang him. But the reason he's interested in working with us is we've got the relationship. So back to what we talked about before, but he doesn't want to learn how to do this. He doesn't know how long lockdown is. No. He wants it today. And the people who've got the skills to deliver it today are the people who've got the biggest opportunity. Because I can literally control his broadcast remotely from here, dropping comments, bringing stuff on the screen. We're not even in the same place. We're socially distant.
I've got you're 8 minutes after your half.
It's cool. I just pushed something back, so I've got 2 questions. Then I'm going to ask you because I think we'll cover this on a bigger show, and hopefully this will be of use to people and encourage people to record their own stuff and get their own stuff out. It doesn't matter warts and all, because you have a blended mix of content. You don't have all raw, you have a blended mix, so images and high quality stuff as well as all levels. So before we close then for today, what advice would you give your 18 or your younger self? Oh man, my younger self, I started business at 12, so I'll be going back to like 11. Okay, so I know the nature of the question is I'd go back and I'd say start documenting everything earlier. Like I've started doing the video and all of that much later. If I'd gone to uni, like think about I went to uni and partnered with Microsoft in 9 months building an audience of 3 million without having done it before. Imagine if at 11, when I was running 11 and 12, I was running a touch up and I documented all of that, where I'd be now. I am actually going to have to run in. It's literally just started raining here as well. But yeah, I would give that advice. Start documenting early. Don't worry about how perfect it is and don't compare yourself to anyone else. Like everybody looks at the likes of the people who are doing it at a big production scale and they're at 10 years in, right? If people look at me and go, I want to be like that. I'm like, brilliant, do 10 years of work and then you'll be there. Same as looking at, Gary Vee, Grant Cardone, those kinds of people. If you're looking at what they're doing, they've been doing it for a long time. So start early. Don't worry about it being perfect, and then learn from people already doing it. Follow the success leaves clues formula of success leaves clues, right? Follow what other people do that are already doing well.
And last question then. What's the future hold? I know. In fact, my last question is, what do you want to be when you're older?
Same thing I've always wanted to be, just happy in what I'm doing. So whether that's working, whether that's not, it's like you have to build everything around happiness. You've got things you have to do. Like,
so what's happiness?
It's going to be different for everyone. For me, it's quality time. It's being able to go to the places I want. It's having the finance that I don't have to consider, is this possible? In the same way I talk to businesses about doing video, the first investment I would ever suggest for anyone is buy an unlimited data SIM, because then you don't have to think about whether or not I can do that in that moment. So for me, it's having the ability to go and do those things. Coronavirus has thrown a spanner in the works for us. We were literally about to go traveling, which is why I'm now in a house with 7 people. Is we've given up our house, we've sold our furniture, we're about to travel, and coronavirus hit. So but I'm still optimistic. I'm still happy. The opportunity is still there. I'm literally building relationships with people abroad so that as soon as it finishes, we will be going to visit all of those people. So it's still there. It's still happening. It's just that it's going to take a little bit longer. Okay. I am going to have to jump because I am actually...
No, that's cool. Awesome, mate. Thank you for joining us.
Good to see you.
Catch up with you soon, my friend, and we'll set up a proper set show.
Yeah, we'll do.
Cheers, buddy.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.